Okay, so I'm going to take you through how to efficiently track your numbers in a logbook in the gym to make sure you're staying on track and aiming to progress all of your lifts every single week. So personally, I prefer a paper logbook as opposed to an app on your phone, just because you get distracted when you're having to go on your phone all the time. You know, there's notifications going off, you end up browsing social media in the middle of the workout. You don't want to do that. I prefer just putting my phone in my bag, put it on do not disturb. You know, when you're in the gym, that's your time to yourself. So I really do recommend a paper logbook. You can get pre-template made ones that you can buy on Amazon that are kind of like in a grid format. The only problem with those is you write one workout down on one page and then you've got to flick to the next page and so on and so on. And when you need to go back to see those previous numbers, you've got to flick all the way back through the pages to find them. Whereas this setup that I'm going to show you today, you can write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 workouts on a 2-page spread, so you can see 5 weeks worth of numbers instead of having to flick back through. So I'm going to take you through how I track. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got my logbook laid out. I've written down 2 example sessions. This is just a lower body workout. So you can see at the top here, I've put lower A, that's the session. If I was to flick over, I'd write, you know, push A, push B, pull A, whatever it would be. You can see at the top here, I've got the gym that I trained at and the date, and then the exercises along the left side here. Now, what's going to really come in handy is one of these pens where you can change the color on them. And I'll come on to why that is going to be important in a minute. So just following the order here, first exercise is the adductor. What I like to do is write down the bottom number of the rep range here. So this one would be 15 to 20, this one would be 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 10 to 14, and so on, 5 to 9, blah, blah, blah. So we'll just go through a quick example here. If I'm doing the adductor, say for instance, I've just started off this training plan. I'm trying to figure out my numbers still. I aim for 100 kilos. After doing my warm-ups, I feel like 100 kilos is going to be the right weight to make me fail between 15 and 20 reps. I do the set and I only get 12 reps. So now I know next week I need to decrease the weight. So that goes down in red. Anything that decreases goes down in red. Anything that increases goes in green. So like I said, I pick 100 kilos, get 12 reps. The week after, I decrease the weight to 90 kilos to try to get within the rep range of 15 to 20 and get 15 reps. So that is spot on. Next week, I may do 90 kilos again and try to get 16 or 17 reps and so on. You can see here that any kind of set intensifiers or any kind of changes in tempo are in red underneath the exercise. So for the adductor, this is a drop set times 4. So I would do my first set with 100 kilos, do 12 reps. I'd then drop the weight slightly, go again to failure, drop it again, and one more time. So there'd be 4 total drops on that one. Next exercise up, we've got the seated hamstring curl. And again, we've got the rep ranges here, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 10 to 14. Now, this part here, it says 2 in S. That basically means a 2-second pause in the shortened range. Now, to be able to understand this, you're going to need to be able to work out when a muscle is fully lengthened and when a muscle is fully shortened in an exercise. So for a seated hamstring curl, if you imagine at the top of the rep when your legs are straight, obviously the hamstring muscle is fully lengthened. As you pull your legs down, you're contracting the muscle and it becomes fully shortened. So that would mean a 2-second pause at the bottom position when the muscle is contracted and so it is fully short. Whereas with the leg press, 1 second in the long, so that means a 1-second pause in the long, in the lengthened range. That would be at the bottom of the rep, because if you think about it, as you come down on a leg press, your quad muscles are lengthening at that point. As you press the weight up, you're contracting the muscles and the muscle is shortening to be able to move the weight. So this would be just a 1-second pause in that bottom position on a leg press. So as you can see, I've got 80 kilos for 6 here. That would be spot on because I've got in the rep range there. The next week, I decided to do 80 kilos again and I got 7. So that's a rep up from last week. So I put 7 in green. And you can see here the other examples. The stars here, basically what I do is I put a star next to this exercise. And then at the bottom here, I write down the setup of the machine. So this stands for seat 3. So when I use the machine, the seat was on setting number 3. And then this part here means the leg pad was on the small setting. You need to write this down so you can set up the machine the same time every single time. It's important that you do that to keep things consistent. And the same thing with the leg extension. So you can see I've put a star there in blue, a star at the bottom here. I've got the seat on setting 4 and the leg pad on the small setting. You're gonna have to excuse my shocking handwriting here. That is an S, not a 5. And then we come down to the hack squat here. So you can see on set 2, I've got a rest pause set. So I know on this set here, I'm doing a rest pause. Now, this is going to be very person specific, what kind of intensifiers you've got in your training plan. You may have a lot, you may have none at all. But a rest pause is obviously, you do the set to failure, you wait 20 seconds and then aim to fail again on the same weight. So I would do 80 kilos here for 12 reps. I'd wait 20 seconds and then using the same weight, I'd fail again. It's not that important tracking your numbers for the intensifiers, and that would be the drop set and the rest pause sets. The main thing that you want to track is the first set you do. So for the adductor, the first set that I've done is 100 times 12. Obviously I've got 4 drops. I don't worry about tracking those as it's just too many numbers to remember. Same with the hack squat here. I track the first set. The following set that I would do after waiting 20 seconds, I don't worry about tracking just because, like I said, it's just too much to track, too much to remember. If you want to track this, by all means, do it. Great, that's fantastic. But from my personal experience, it's just a lot to remember. And if you're not recording all of your sets, you know, often you count the numbers out loud in your head, you finish the set and then it just goes out of your head. So as you can see here, I've progressed the entire session. You know, I'm either going up in weight or up in reps. If I'm matching the previous week's weight, I just write it down in black. So anything that's the same is in black. So as you can see, week 1, 90 kilos for 10. Week 2, I do the same weight and get 11 reps. So the same weight goes down in black. The progression in reps goes down in green. For instance, down here, I did 100 kilos for 7 on the first set on hack squats. The week after, I do 100 kilos again. However, I could only get 6 reps. So that number goes down in red. Let's say, for instance, you couldn't progress both set 1 and set 2 on the hack squat for this week. You need to flag this up. That might be you are starting to stall on a particular exercise. If the week after, the same thing happens where you cannot progress either the weight or the reps, we can safely say that you've stalled on that exercise and it needs to be swapped out for something else. So that is really the only time that you'd swap out a movement. You know, other times maybe if you are suffering from an injury or you're just not enjoying the movement anymore, or you're just getting a little bit bored and would like something a bit fresh. But majority of the time, the best thing to do is keep an exercise in for as long as you can and aim to progress it every single week, whether that's in terms of weight added to the bar or reps. So hopefully that all makes sense, guys. If you've got absolutely any questions at all, please let me know. You can pick up these logbooks from Amazon. If you'd like me to send you a link for this exact one, let me know and I can do that. Again, you can get these pens from most kind of office supply stores. So these are the 2 things you're going to need if you want to track efficiently. An extra thought to add. When it comes to tracking in a logbook, it's very tempting to consistently beat the numbers at whatever cost. But the thing you really need to focus on is trying to standardize your form. So you don't want to aim to progress the weight or reps at the expense of your form suffering. Your form needs to stay the same every single week. So that means the same depth on movements, the same speed, the same amount of time paused in the lengthened or shortened range on all movements. Make every single rep look exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the speed of the rep. Obviously, as you get towards the back end of the set, your reps are going to slow down as you start to fatigue. That is the only thing that should change. You see a lot of people just trying to move the weight from A to B and they create what's called a mechanical advantage. They're using other muscle groups in order to move the weight. Like I'm sure many of you have seen people in the gym doing a bicep curl and their whole body is moving. You know, it's a bicep isolation movement. The only thing that should be moving is the lower part of your arm. That is it. That is contracting the bicep. Doing this, it's not working the bicep anymore. You're using other parts of your body, and that goes the same for all movements. Don't create mechanical advantages to move the weight from A to B. Think about placing the stimulus on the muscle you're trying to work, and your progress is gonna fly, I promise you. So like I said, any questions, let me know.